The following program is rated S for satire. We are not professionals, nor are we clinically depressed. We do, however, suffer from long bouts of indecision and stagnation. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to this very special episode of Take That Depression. This episode is very special because it's our 10th episode, and we wanted to do something special for our special 10th episode. So today, we have a special guest, Steve, along for the ride. With that being said, guys, how was your week this week?
My week was really good. It went by surprisingly fast. As you know, we got the 4-day rotation, and by day 3, I thought it was day 2, so it was quite the nice surprise to find out that my day had actually sped up a lot faster, so I'm excited to be here.
Yep. How about you, Steve?
My week's been pretty great. I've just been working and brewing.
Good.
I've made a few meads over the weekend. It's been pretty productive.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear about that for this episode, so I can't wait to get into it. My week was much the same. It was very quick. I am unofficially, out on parental leave for my second kid, so the next 6 weeks off is going to be pretty nice.
Vacation.
Vacation.
Yes. But without further ado, Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Steve. I created Boozy Bee Brewing. It is a way for me to dabble in the world of wine and mead and fermentation in general and try and get my foot in the door professionally.
That's very interesting. I don't know if I talked to you, Spencer. A couple of years ago was really interested. One of my friends brewed a batch of mead, and that really got my brain ticking, and I was wondering the process of it, so I got really into like the Mr. Beer kits. I don't know if you've heard of any of that.
Yeah.
That I was looking that up for a little while,
Yeah.
And it seemed too much for me. Is it complicated?
It is sort of designed to seem complicated.
Interesting.
Once you kind of learn that a lot of the words kind of mean the same thing, it's not that hard. For instance, you need airlocks, and that's not something we ever deal with in our day-to-day lives.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear an airlock, you don't know what it is, you've never seen it, you don't know what's going on, and there's no real life thing to relate it back to. But when you learn that's just something you put on your jugs to make sure that no air gets in, it's actually really simple.
Okay.
It's a lot of it's just complicated until you figure out it's not that complicated.
Okay. What inspired you to start brewing?
I think actually the first thing that got me started was just wanting to try different types of wines and not being able to. I don't get me wrong, I love grape wine, but there's a lot of other fruits out there, and you never actually see wine with them.
Okay.
So I just kind of decided what is out there. And I kind of wanted to try a new hobby, too, because all of my hobbies were, digital. They were, playing video games and stuff, and there wasn't anything, ever for me to show for it in real life. So I wanted to have a hobby that I could actually make something with, too.
I'm in that same boat. I think that's kind of how all this got started, was all I do is play video games and had nothing there to show. So
yeah,
this is part of what we do, is part of learning new hobbies and getting into new things.
Exactly. Trying to expand your horizons and everything.
Yep.
So at first I didn't really go with the Mr. Beer kits just because I've never been one for beer, but my first foray into winemaking was just a wine kit. And I got a bunch of strawberries and juiced them, and that was it.
Wow.
And it didn't taste very good. It was a start, and from there I was just like, wow, this actually worked. I can't believe I just made alcohol at home. And from there I just started making everything. I was like, oh, what does strawberry taste like with raspberry? What does it taste like with lime? What does it taste like with peaches? And so I just had I think I got up to 40 different 1 gallon jugs just sitting around my apartment full of wine. and it got to be a lot.
Like mad scientist.
Yeah, it blew up really fast.
That sounds super interesting. Like a way to be creative that I haven't thought of. You usually think about like art, making a picture or whatever, but to combine different flavors is an interesting way to think about creativity as well.
Yeah, I think about it like cooking, but on a long-term scale.
Yeah.
Because it's like cooking, but it just takes longer.
Yep.
What would be one tip that you would recommend to someone who's just getting started out?
I would say have patience. Whenever there's something that you don't know, remember that it's just a Google search away. All the information is readily available online. Some of it is just more digestible than others. If you're just starting out and you're going to a site that's kind of meant for more experienced brewers, they're going to use a lot of terms that you don't really understand. And it's going to seem very confusing, and you're going to be like, I don't understand this. And you're going to close that tab on your browser, and you're never going to get back to it. And then, like, with mead, for instance, anytime you make, say, cider, if you make an apple cider, that's a cider. If you add honey to it, it's a sizer. You can make a wine, but then if you add honey to that, it's a hydromel.
Interesting.
And so there's all these different names for things like in mead, but they all mean the same thing. It's just this other thing with honey. And there's a lot of terms like that in brewing where like it can seem confusing, but just remember, like the community is out there to help. There's many forums. There's been, since the internet was a thing, there's been people asking how to make wine on it. So there's all the questions that you possibly have been answered. It might just take some looking.
What was your biggest challenge or failure, and what did you learn?
So I actually love failing. I'll do something over and over again wrong just to make sure I know how to do it right. And I think the biggest example is makgeolli. This makgeolli is a Korean rice wine. It's hundreds of years old. I think thousands of years old, actually. And it's recently made a comeback in Korea because their by law, like, rice shortage is over. So they're starting to make the more traditional things again. Well, I tried making makgeolli, and I just did it all sorts of wrong. You're supposed to make it and then dilute it. I tried like diluting it at first and just like making it really watery, and that didn't work. I tried doing it in the wrong vessels. That didn't work. I've tried barely steaming it. That's not good. I've tried steaming it way too much. That's not good. I try and do things wrong because that you can learn why you're not supposed to do them that way, but you don't like get why you're not supposed to do it that way. So I don't know, that's always really good information for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really like that. I've never thought, I mean, you hear it all the time, like failing to learn something, but I've never kind of thought about like intentionally just trying things to see what you can get away with. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Because why not?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
I've actually, I was just thinking the other day, I have a lot of grains for beer and stuff. And in the process for making beer, you boil the grains and it breaks down the starches in them into sugar that you can then brew with. But also there's this thing called amylase enzyme that's just a powder that converts starches to sugars. And that's totally the wrong way to make beer, but I think I'm going to try that. Just like get some grains and like mash them up and put some enzyme in there and see what happens. And
Yeah, you don't know until you try.
You never know until you try. It'll probably be terrible.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The more you know, I guess.
Yeah, and then I'll know why you're not supposed to do that. And if it's good, well,
yeah,
no problem. Yeah.
Found another way to make beer.
Yeah.
What would you say your next big milestone is that you're working towards?
I'd say if I was working towards a milestone at this point, it would be to get hired at a winery. A big part of this is just to show what I can do, that I know what I'm talking about, that I have the experience to be able to work in that profession. But also as far as like my videos and stuff, I really try not to have milestones, because as soon as you put milestones on it, you're already failing. Like you're already falling behind those milestones, and I kind of just want to keep it a passion project. So at first there was this really big pressure, like, oh, I have to put out a video every other week, and it has to be like this and this and this, and it's just not. That's not the best way to grow, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If you kind of lose your passion for something because you're doing what you think the algorithm wants you, then you won't grow because you won't be passionate about the thing that you're doing.
Yeah, and you're just stressing yourself out over something that you're supposed to care about the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's bound to get bad.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially with us. I feel like we are kind of spreading ourselves out a lot right now in the beginning. I'm still very passionate about what we're doing. But yeah, it's definitely, you can feel where it's not just like, this is just a silly fun thing that I get to do. It's like, oh, gotta make a TikTok today.
Yep.
Which is fine. It's just an interesting kind of switch that flips once you kind of make that choice.
Yeah.
So it's cool to just have this be what it is.
And social media is a whole other aspect of it too. Like that's almost as hard as doing the stuff itself. Like just keeping up with the social media, posting every day, like keeping engagement up, and
we are finding that out every single day. We're learning something new about it.
It's a lot of fun for me. I'm a numbers guy. So to see the numbers, the spikes and the declines, the spikes and the valleys of the engagement, of the views that we're getting, it's fun to kind of try and figure out exactly what's causing that. So to try different things along the way with the videos that we're making is really fun. But yeah, it takes it, notches it up another step when you just commit to doing all these different social medias on top of the project that you're already doing, especially if it's just meant to be a passion project.
It gets hard. It gets hard.
Yeah. Where can we find you at, if like your socials, if you have any?
My socials are on YouTube at Boozy Bee Brewing. I'm on Instagram at Boozy Bee Brewing, on Facebook as well. Okay. And I am hopefully starting a Twitch channel soon. I'm hoping to just get like a sort of like 1 or 2 hours a week, just do like tastings and quick Q&A, something like that. But I want to have a few things built up before that. If you're interested in that, I'm sure we would love to be guests. If you ever want guests on the show,
absolutely.
I'm sure we'd love to take our time out to do that.
That's definitely the theme. It's no good drinking alone. So I want to always have like a guest there, or at least like someone else. So.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely keep us in mind.
Yeah.
With that being said, do you have any final thoughts you want to leave with the listeners?
I think that I really appreciate the positive mental health aspect of your podcast.
Thank you.
And I like that. I like the positive reinforcement. Spencer and I used to live together, and there was a while when we were edgy, like early 20-somethings.
Oh yeah. When
we would, anytime we saw each other, we would be like, "Hey, go fuck yourself." And I love this man, but eventually it was like, you know what? I mean it for real.
Yeah.
But that constant, like, if you constantly give yourself negative reinforcement, you're going to feel negatively. And I think eventually we both realized, like, we just need positive reinforcement. So instead we just said, hey, go love yourself.
And how much of a difference that makes.
I
will go love myself.
Yeah, I do love myself today. Thank you. It was just positive reinforcement really does work. Just like negative reinforcement works. If you go around calling yourself dumb all day, saying that you can't do something, or there's all this stuff that you're not smart enough to do, you're gonna believe it.
Absolutely.
Eventually you're gonna convince yourself of it, and you just won't ever do it. You'll tell yourself, like, oh, there's just this part of my life that I want to do that I'm just too dumb to do.
Yeah.
So I think keep up with the positive outlook. I think especially these days, that's very necessary.
Yeah.
And people need some positivity in their lives. So thank you guys for doing all this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something that we strive for, and that's something that we at work, Spencer and I talk a lot about, because there is a lot of that negativity kind of swirling around at work right now. So, and that, yeah, it's
a slippery slope,
yeah,
too.
it's definitely. I came in and would just be like, it's all good, it's fine, and just try and like radiate that positivity wherever I can at work. And that was one of the starting points, the thinking points for this podcast was like,
Nice.
we need something out there that's just good. And yeah, we strive for that every week.
Yeah.
I think all three of us radiate positive energy at this point in our life, so what a trifecta it is to like have all of us together today on this podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely a special little bit to, especially have a guest this early on in the podcast. It's great to have another creator on, and another creator that's looking to just put good out.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Again, we can find you at Boozy Bee Brewing.
Boozy Bee Brewing.
On YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
You got it. When I started Boozy Bee Brewing, it was because I had actually gotten to a point where instead of humoring me, my friends would actually be serious about wanting to buy wine and stuff from me. You know, it started as like, oh, this is really good, and they were obviously trash, but and eventually it got good enough to where people were trying to buy it from me, and I realized I could not legally do that. And so it kind of became like, oh, what do I need to get those licenses? And then realizing I would have no way to ever get the licenses to do that, and like to like sell alcohol under my own name and license and stuff. So I kind of decided, hey, let's do a big pivot, and I'll just give lessons, because I really do enjoy like teaching people how to do it. But yeah, I haven't really it's not really something that people are like excited to get into. Like, it's one of those things where like, oh, I might do this sometime, but it's also still kind of intimidating. So
I'm a sucker for lessons. That's one of the best way I learn is like knuckle deep, like getting into it. Having an instructor there to show me how to do it is pretty huge for me. So that's something I'd be interested in doing.
Yeah, definitely, to simplify some of the language like you were talking about before, saying like, I was watching, I think, one of your videos when you're talking about sizers, and I did not know what that was. So to have someone who already kind of knows the lingo makes it just that much easier to start the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the lessons are about, because like a lot of people don't realize, like, the words kind of throw them off and they give up, and it's like, damn, this is all so complicated, and it's not actually. It's just complicated from the outside, and once you get into it, it's like, oh, this is all very normal.
Awesome.
You got it.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to hopefully growing together a little bit then.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on to the skill check segment, we want to say one last thank you to Steve and Boozy Bee Brewing for being our first guest. And with that, Spencer, take it away.
Thank you, Kyler. On today's skill check, I wanted to keep it a little relevant to our guest, so I decided for my skill check this week I was going to do fermenting. This may be part 1 of 3, as I found there's 3 unique styles, and decided to start with the very basic and the most easiest. So let's just dive right into it. Fermenting cucumbers is what we're talking about today. There's actually 4 different main cucumbers that people use most common. Kirby cucumbers are most popular, gherkins, Persian, and Japanese style. It turns out when I was looking this up that there's actually over 100 types of cucumbers, which that's a lot of cucumbers that I was not expecting. 3 types of techniques. First is going to be the quick pickle / refrigerated pickle. That's not made for long-term storage. You have it in the fridge for like maybe up to a month. That's just something you kind of make. As soon as it's finished, you're able just to munch on it right away. But I would imagine I would give it, at least a day or two to ferment up a bit. The second is long-term storage pickle, and as the name implies, it's for long-term storage. And the third most common is lacto fermented pickle, and that's the fermenting process with healthy probiotics that have an anaerobic environment and gives you all the good bacteria, good probiotics, but there's a lot that goes in there, so therefore that will be part 3 of the fermenting process. So for my skill check, I'm going to quickly jump in and tell you how to make some quick, simple refrigerated pickles. Super easy, we'll fly through it, easy breezy. First thing you're going to want to do is cut your cucumbers, toss them into a jar, and add kosher salt. I found out that kosher salt is the most important thing. Nothing else will work. It has to be kosher. Next, once you give that a mix with all the salt, you're gonna cover them and let them sit for about 4 hours in the fridge. You'll give them a little mix every once in a while, but you'll want to keep them covered. The next step, you're gonna rinse them, and you're gonna rinse them nice and good. The resource I found said rinse them for 4 minutes and don't skimp on it. You really have to get all that salt off. The next thing you're going to do is make a brine, and that's the important part. That's the fermenting part. And to do this, you're going to add water and vinegar to a pan. You'll add your spices that you choose and let that come to a simmer. Once it comes to a simmer, you're going to add your cucumbers in and bring it to an almost boil. Not quite a boil, almost a boil. And then as soon as you bring that to the almost boil, you'll take it off the heat, let it get down to room temperature, toss it in a jar, seal it up, and you're ready to go. Then you got refrigerated pickles that you can munch on right away, or you can give it a few hours, a few days, and dive into them then. There's a recipe that we will post and some links if you want to do it yourself that gives it more detailed, but I'm sure you don't want to listen to me struggle on a bunch of recipes trying to read it to you.
Yeah, that sounds simpler than I would think for pickles, but also boiling, taking out a whole pan does add a level of difficulty that I'm not sure.
It was fun to see that the first process was like the easiest. It's just, here you go. Mm-hmm. And then it gets much more harder from there. So again, I don't know when part 2 will come, but I will eventually make a part 2 and a part 3 as we go on. I would also like to maybe learn how to do those hands-on, so I'm confident in explaining that to you.
Yeah, we may have a taste test at the end of an episode coming up. We'll see. We'll see what Spencer creates.
Lots of lip smacking.
Ready for ASMR, I guess.
What about you, Kyler?
So thank you for keeping it on topic, because I'm about to veer way off topic. This week, I'm going to cover meditation for my skill check. That's been something that I've kind of been interested in trying out myself. I've heard about it, practicing mindfulness, things like that, but I've never really, that's one thing that I've never kind of done to work on myself. So I am interested to see if that does really anything. But I'm sure everybody has heard of meditation. If you haven't, the big steps of meditation are finding a quiet space. Then you set a time limit. If you're starting out doing meditation, you want to start short, like 5-10 minutes maximum. Then you'll want to get your body in a comfortable position, focus on your breathing, and when your mind wanders, you'll want to guide it back to your breath. You really need to be kind of present and in the moment for meditation, so you can't be thinking about work that day. You can't be thinking about what you're going to eat for supper that night. It's just kind of being present exactly in that moment. That being said, meditation may help with mental health, stress, focus, and your overall well-being. There are 2 separate kinds of meditation. The first is more for beginners, or if you just kind of like having a guiding voice. It's guided meditation. You will follow an instructor, and they will give you kind of prompts and guidance on what to focus on, things like that, and they will help you kind of remain present. by kind of reminding you to like focus on your breath or focus on how your shoulders are feeling or something like that. The second type is unguided meditation, which is the opposite of guided meditation. It involves you being the driving force for your meditation. There's no outside factors. This lets you create your own kind of structure for the meditation if you're more advanced, if you've done it for a while. It also allows for more freedom and exploration within meditation. You don't have that instructor kind of pulling you back to somewhere where they want you to be. You can kind of explore and look through your body and your mind in a way that you want to. There's a couple other kind of like subtypes of meditation that I found, and these were interesting, so I'm going to include them here. You have mindfulness meditation, and these can be done in either guided or unguided meditation settings. You have mindfulness meditation that lets you focus on being present and allowing your thoughts and feelings to pass through you. So you're really focusing on how you're feeling and kind of the thoughts you're thinking in that moment. You're not so much just like focusing on your breathing and only your breathing. You're really focusing on how you're feeling in that moment. The next is mantra meditation, where you repeat a word or phrase over and over again to help focus your mind. Yoga is a form of meditation that combines physical postures, breathing techniques, and movement to kind of enhance that for you. That would probably be good if you're one who can't really sit still for long periods of time. I think yoga would be really, really good if you're looking to get into meditation. And the last one that I found was body scan meditation. And this involves kind of what it says, paying attention to different parts of your body and noticing tension or noticing anything kind of weird with it. I know a few years ago, I would do this. I would listen to like a guided body scan to fall asleep. And that would kind of guide you through, like, focus on the top of your head and make sure that that's really, really relaxed. And then you focus on your face muscles and make sure that that's really relaxed. And that helped me a lot. But I've not kind of like focused on meditation to work on myself. So that's something I'm going to be trying. Down below, I will have linked one link. It's the UCLA Health. They have a suite, probably 6 to 10 guided meditations for you in varying length. If you're interested in checking out any guided meditations, you can find those in the link below. But that being said, I think we are going to move on and say thank you guys for listening to our 10th episode. What a crazy ride it's been. We're so close to a year already. I know we're not, but we're 1/5 of the week. Just started.
It's moving so fast.
We just started, it feels like a week ago, and it is moving so fast. I just can't believe how fast we're going.
I'm excited. I'm excited from day one to see how we're evolving each and every day, and I'm very excited for this episode to be able to have Steve on here and
yes,
give us some input.
He was a very good guest and a very good first guest. Just exuded positivity, and super stoked for this one to come out. That being said, don't forget to check Steve out at Boozy Bee Brewing on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We will link his socials in the description below. Definitely check us out at all of our socials. We're on TikTok now, YouTube, Facebook still, all the places. Feel free to follow, like, however you want to interact. It's really been fun to kind of see what does well where. But yeah, definitely help us keep playing the algorithm game. We really, really appreciate every like, every share, every comment has been really, really good to receive. So thank you guys. Keep doing that. Share with friends and family if you think that they would be interested in the podcast. Anything else, Spencer?
I don't believe so.
Alrighty. Like we always love to say to sign off, stay safe out there.
And don't get mugged.
If you are struggling, please, please, please reach out to someone or dial 988 to get connected with someone at the National Suicide Hotline. You do not have to go it alone.